another episode of the Doomloop Dispatch, the show that covers the worst parts of the San Francisco Bay Area. My name's Kevin L. Jones, and with me whenever possible is...
Scott.
All right, and today we got another headline episode. There's a lot going on. School is starting up. People are reporting on certain props and how they're going down. We still got ICE attacking tons of people, and we basically just, I don't know how I feel, and I think it's worth discussing the fight against the fascism from the people that are supposed to be doing the fighting and don't seem like they're really doing the fighting. But first off, I definitely want to talk about these what is going on with the Prop 36, which was what just passed. And it's been so interesting because so a big part of what Prop 36 was, which was basically we're going to make retail theft a felony again. And it basically was, everyone bought into the whole blah, blah, blah about the retail crime theft sprees and issues. And even though they were all overblown, a lot of it was businesses basically just trying to cover their asses for closing and stuff like that. But it's been really interesting because the Mercury News just did a story about pointing out that, it's sure they're arresting people and that's all working out. But one of the things about the law was that it was supposed to provide drug treatment options for those who, that's the issue. That's why we get retail crime. It's people trying to steal things they need to survive. So a big part of that is drug addiction. If you're at that point, you're getting so desperate, you probably have drug issues. And they're finding that, that part of it is not working because the state has done nothing to provide for it. And that's just so typical of what's going on, especially as we see, everyone going towards austerity. Basically, that is how the tech fascists and everyone else is going to try to keep their power. They're going to basically hurt us all in our pocketbooks. They're going to try to make us be desperate to live, so desperate that we can't fight back. And I think this is a big issue, especially, if they're supposed to make promises about helping people and stuff and not backing that up, hopefully they'll get sued. This is just wrong.
Well, I don't think anybody's going to get sued or anything like that because, honestly, this is a for-profit prison thing.
Yep.
And that's basically what it always was. So the reason why we actually had Prop, what was it, 47, right? It was 47?
Yes.
Okay. And 47 was partly due to the fact that the prisons were overcrowded. That was part of the reason why 47 was implemented. There was nothing humanitarian about the bill, right? It was actually a very utilitarian decision.
Yes. And let me just explain real quick. Prop 47 was a great prop because basically it's just like what they had in Texas to decrease petty crime issues and overpopulated jails. It's basically says that it was a misdemeanor to steal things under $950. Yeah.
And but basically the private prisons was like, no, we need that revenue, we need that labor. Right. So this thing was it's the same bullshit they've been blowing. It's the same bullshit they've been blowing smoke over our asses about since forever. Right. Like DC, for example. DC is supposed to be about crime. No, it's not. It's not about crime. Right. They say, oh, we got to do something about the rampant crime. And everybody said the crime is down to a 30-year low. So but you're going to come out here and you're going to tell us that you're trying to help people. That's not what your plan is. It's just bullshit. You're just blowing smoke up our asses about the same. So that's what I've always thought Prop 36 is going to end up manifesting. The private prisons need their people back. The private prisons needed their labor back. And so the private prisons and the police unions decided to come up with this bullshit prop they knew they weren't going to be able to implement because that wasn't the point. The point was to turn misdemeanors into felonies so you could repopulate the prisons. And so therefore it's successful for what it is, which is a draconian, evil ass program, right? It's that's really what it is. But it is successful for what it intended to do. So people say that it's a failure. Well, it's a failure if you assume that it was a good faith act to begin with. It wasn't. It was a bad faith act. You know, just like what's happening in DC, just like what's happening in LA. These are bad faith acts. So you can't say, oh, it failed. It had no intention on succeeding. Yes. You know, so it's just like it's like we live in an upside down world. Like, what the fuck?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Or at least the succession is just arresting more people. You know, like that's the succeeding. You know,
yeah,
like,
that's what they wanted to do. That's all they wanted. They didn't want anything else.
Yeah,
they don't. Like, and the whole thing we got this about drug addiction. Like, no, because all you're going to do is you're going to put people back in the system that's already been proven time and again to actually create recidivism and relapse, right? And actually, and some people actually come out with greater addictions than they did going in. Yeah, you know. So I mean, like the system itself is a fucked up system. So what you're saying is what we have to do is we have to put more people in that system, and if we put more people in the system will improve. But how's that going to work? It isn't. It isn't. So I mean, like when I saw this article. I think Nico shared it on Twitter or somebody like that. And my first inclination was, but of course, that wasn't the plan to begin with. Like, don't call it a failure. Call it what it was like, you know, the system isn't broken, it's fixed, you know?
Yes. Yeah. And totally. And actually, I want to point out too, within that story was this whole thing about what crime is actually doing, you know, and overall crime fell, but they're all concerned about retail theft. And it's really interesting because it's still lower than the lowest level since 1985, but a little higher than it was in 2019 before COVID. But it's ignoring this idea that COVID really, you know, made the world way more unequal. You know, it really made it like a lot of people had hard times. Yeah, that's why they needed to inject so much cash, which, of course, who really took advantage of that? The already wealthy, you know. You had stories about like Tom Brady getting like $900,000 to buy a sports car and stuff like that. You know,
Marjorie Taylor Greene, you got a PPE loan. They all got PPEs, you know.
Exactly, and this, I mean, that was supposed to help people to quit from going on the streets. But now, you know, especially with all this investment in rentals and property and housing, you got more and more homeless people too. I mean, what people do, what this doesn't get into is the fact that also retail theft and retail crime is for like survival. You know, like a lot of the times what you're seeing is what they're stealing is stuff like toothpaste, diapers.
Yeah, the stuff that gets locked up is the weirdest stuff. It's soap, it's deodorant, it's like, but you know, but once again, but what are we forgetting about? We're forgetting about all these places that are actually crying retail theft or actually guilty of wage theft. So I mean, like, to me, I mean, it's like, well, who was the greater offender to the American public and the consumer? Well, I would think that wage theft probably brings out more dollars out of our pockets than somebody taking a toothbrush and a razor blade. I can't see that being the thing that gets the biggest dent. But also, and this is something else. I mean, there's no way I can prove this, right? But I bet you anything, a lot of things are falling off of trucks on the back end. I mean, I bet you anything that things are falling off of trucks. Like if you were working, like say at a Walmart, right? Things are falling off of trucks for you. Like, things are falling off of trucks. Things are starting to disappear from the inventory, and you know that your store is going to make it a loss leader. You know what I mean? So basically, what happens is like maybe like a whole lot of that toilet paper, toothbrushes, things like that. That might just be like, you know, things that fell off of trucks. You can't necessarily attribute that to disenfranchised people. And once again, I mean, like, it brings me back to the thing I was talking about before. That is a bad faith argument. Like the good faith argument would be, I'm a shoplifter and I'm shoplifting. The store is trying to protect its profits and at the same time protect its merchandise. That's the good faith argument. But the bad faith argument is that these very same stores are conducting wage theft and possibly theft upon themselves. And that is closer to the argument that we should be making, as opposed to saying that there's good guys and bad guys and like, you know what I mean? Like, no, the bad guys are the guys who are doing the wage stuff. And the bad guys are the guys who are actually keeping track of their merchandise. The bad guys are those guys, right? So how much shoplifting is actually happening? We don't know. Yep. We don't know, because these guys could be actually putting things in their trunk from the back of the truck and just calling that shoplifting. We don't know. We don't know, you know. So I mean, like, it's just a bad faith argument. I mean, what I'd like to see is, I'd like to see Walgreens be held accountable for the wage theft. I'd like to see Walmart being held accountable for the wage theft. I would like to see Safeway be held accountable for raising prices, inflating prices, and then putting that on either wage theft or the economy, which they did with Biden. Right. I would like to see all those people be held accountable first. Then we could talk about these petty crimes, because those are big crimes.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? So, like, let's talk about the petty crimes after we've done something about the big ass crimes that the so-called victims are doing every day. That's bad faith to me. It's just bad faith.
Exactly, totally. Especially when they use this retail crime theft to cover up the fact that they're failing, that they're not. They expand too quickly, try to bump up their share price, and then those stores start closing. And instead of saying, "Well, we just got a little excited, we got a little greedy," they're it's crime. It's and drugs. It's all the fentanyl and blah blah blah. When it's like, no, you guys are just messing up.
You're dropping the ball big time. You're not alone. I don't know what's going on with you guys over there. Yeah.
Well, that was the craziest part too, because remember back in 2022 and 2021, when you were seeing all the stories about how retail theft is out of control and stuff, they were doing it because they were saying like Walgreens was closing stores and complaining about it and stuff. Everyone's bitching about Prop 47, but it turned out you could find their business plans, and they were planning to close these stores years before.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
It's just nonsense.
It really is. It really is. We got to get into what's going on with the Daniel Lurie giving up all this stuff for surveillance to Chris Larson, one of his biggest the crypto billionaire. With Ripple and stuff. And I mean, really, it's so creepy because he's literally going to keep all the surveillance data and like all the system is set up in his own office. They're setting it up in Ripple's office. Like, why do we have stuff that's supposedly for the government running in a private company's office?
Yeah, it actually, the whole Lurie thing is just insane to me. And the reason being is because, like, okay, my argument with London Breed and why she capitulated, right, was that she came from meager beginnings, right, and because she came from meager beginnings, like she didn't have the resources, the personal resources, to say no when she should have sometimes, right. Lurie has the resources. I don't understand. Like, how are you so cheap? Like, you're a billionaire, or you're a centillionaire or whatever. Why are you going so cheap? Why are you going so cheap? You're going cheaper than Breed did, but you have Levi money. I don't understand it. And also the other thing I find really curious about this is surveilling who? You've already chased out most of the lower class. You've already chased out most of the minorities and black people in San Francisco. So who are you going to be surveilling? Hayes Valley? Are you where's all this surveillance going to be taking place? Is it going to be taking place where already there's surveillance with a bunch of people with their cameras in the Tenderloin terrorizing drug addicted people? Because you have nothing but mass surveillance there every day, right? So what exactly? It's I don't even understand what the motivation is. Like why are you doing that? What is it for money?
I think it is. I think they're using this as almost like a model city of like what somebody can do, Hey, look what we did for San Francisco. We cleaned it all up because we, made it a police state that serves the rich, Oh, well, that's interesting. Maybe we could get in that, but yeah, I really think it's like, so also too, the history of policing is about protecting property. And I honestly think that they know they know austerity is going to get real bad. They're going to destroy the social safety net. They're going to make everyone desperate. I'm surprised crime is still low because I don't think it's going to stay that way. I think people will get more desperate because that's a part of fascism. A big part of fascism is getting that austerity. It's the stick. You know, sure, you could straight up kill people and stuff, but that doesn't look that great. But if you tell people like you're lazy, you're addicted to drugs, you're not doing what you're supposed to, you should just be working harder. That's going to knock people down and keep them in line. They'll be too tired, too desperate to actually fight the people, or at least do the fight that needs to make things better.
Yeah, I mean, and also I'm having issues with the definition of crime within itself after this. I'm having issues with defining crime. I like the very people who are supporting the felon and the very people who are supporting the protector of a pedophile are the people who are telling me that they know what crime is, right? That's really, it's difficult for me because there used to be a time where white supremacy and fascism could cover up their tracks to such a degree. Well, take, for example, Emmett Till. You could actually get away with murder back in the day because you had a certain kind of narrative that was like, okay, well, these subhumans and blah, 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 blah. Look at us. We're not really doing crimes, even though that was a murder. We're actually talking about a murder. But in the minds of America, it wasn't really a crime because look at what they do. But when you have a president who actually is a felon and a convicted rapist and sexual assaulter who is affiliated with a child sex predator, you can't talk to anybody about crime anymore. You just can't. You can't do it. So, this whole thing that we got to do something about crime. You don't care.
Nope.
You just don't. You don't care about crime. If you cared about crime, I don't care if you didn't vote for him or voted for him. Right. If you allowed what San Francisco is becoming is a Trumpian city. And if you allow that Trumpian city with the David Saxes and the Diane Yaps and apparently the Daniel Lauries, you don't care about crime at all. I don't know how we can, that hypocrisy is actually something as old as history itself. Right. But it's never been so barefaced. The way it is with Donald Trump in office. It's gotten to this point where I don't know what's going to break first, to be honest about it. Right. I don't know if the poor people will break first. I think I would like to think that the hypocrisy eventually is going to weigh down on the system to such a degree that you're going to run out of people to oppress. You're going to run out of crimes in order to say, but these are atypical crimes. Right. And so you're going to eventually end up I heard somebody, they were actually talking about something else. They were talking about the Heritage Foundation. But they said, once the minnows are gone, the sharks have to start eating each other.
Yep.
Right. And so I think, I'm more inclined because we're only 10 months into this idiot's fucking presidency. And we're already starting to see that. We're already starting to see that the minnows are either dispersing like the immigrants did. Right. Or are dispassionate, like the residents of DC. Like the cops come running into a place, predominantly black neighborhood, right? And people just we get cops a lot around here. It's not nobody's really that oh my God, it's the police. No, because you guys have been surveilling these people this whole time. Yeah. Right. So you double the number of cops walking in that neighborhood. It's still cops walking in our neighborhood, uninvited, occupying force. This shit ain't new. This is not a terrorizing thing for us. And the Latino community is okay, well, we just won't pick your fucking apples. How about that? So when the minnows are gone, the sharks start eating each other. Right. Yeah. And I'm kind of hoping we're starting to see signs of that in San Francisco, I think. But it's too early to really tell. But I'm more inclined to believe that the minnows are better trained. I think the minnows have a better reinforcement and support system in times of poverty and times of stress. I think that the crimes are really going to start happening in places like Nebraska when the farms start closing, Oklahoma when the farms start closing, when things start getting foreclosed, when things like people who had never in their fucking lives ever had to struggle for anything, right? That is where it's going to start happening. That's where it's going to start happening. But marginalized populations that used to be marginalized. These guys aren't ready, and I believe that's probably where it's really going to start. Even though they're not going to talk to us about it, but it's people are going to start losing copper in their fucking homes, and people are going to start losing their analytic converters and shit. You know what I mean? Yes. And that's because people being from West Virginia, I saw this happen. I saw it happen. So it's just it to me, I'm concerned, yes, but I don't think there will be a massive spike in crime from the usual suspects.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe the spike in crime is going to be coming from places that we just didn't know were capable of it. Like the police chief, the San Jose police union executive who was caught selling fentanyl.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you go, what? And then and because it doesn't fit the narrative, everybody just kind of immediately forgot it. But you're like, no, why was she selling fentanyl?
Yeah. And also too, why and also, shooting Minnesotan like these the shit that's happening now, you're so right, is like not what the narrative wants it to be,
not at all.
Like when they assassinated those Minnesotan politicians and stuff, there's no way they could try to say no, that was a leftist. Like, no, that was definitely a dude on the right. And
the guy who shot up the CDC and killed that black police officer.
Mm-hmm,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the same thing. I mean, like they don't even want to talk about it because it was this white guy who got caught up in RFK's rhetoric, and he went and put in something like 300 rounds into a building, killing a person.
Yes.
And we didn't even see a picture of that motherfucker. We didn't even see a picture of him. And so I think the sharks are eating or starting to eat themselves. Like your constituency, your base, they're going to come after you. Right. Yeah. Because we're going to we know how to survive. We know how, anybody who's not super rich, anybody who's never had to struggle, anybody who's never had to have a real job. Right.
Yeah.
When the bottom falls out for you, you're done. When the bottom falls out for people who had traditionally had the bottom fall out for them, they built and built and built, and then the bottom falls out. Okay, we'll do it again. Yeah. Right. You guys don't have that in you.
Nope.
And I have a feeling that that's what we're going to start seeing over these next 4 fucking years.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, I mean, you're already seeing crime go up in Republican controlled cities, you know, those are the most dangerous places right now, and I mean, you just can see more of that because those are the people that buying the need to have babies. We got to build up our workforce. Well, those are the people actually listening to it. Everyone else who's like, this economy sucks.
Yeah, there's no way
I can't pay. I'm no way I'm having kids. Yeah,
I'm not doing that. Yeah. And also, I mean, I'm glad you brought up the thing about red states too, because I mean, it's not just that they're buying the rhetoric and have continued to buy the rhetoric, but Trump, when he starts cutting these programs, they're going to come to the realization how much they depended on SNAP, how much they depended on federal funds, how much they depended on general assistance. They're going to start, and so I mean, I'm thinking that the very people who call themselves the heroes of the story are actually the ones who are the villains and the crooks. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in red states. The more because Trump actually had this idea that black and brown people, the most marginalized of us, were the ones who were most on these programs. When in fact it was people in rural areas, white people in rural areas are on these programs. Farm subsidies, more so than so-called welfare, are the things that have been carrying these people in these red states. So Trump cut them thinking he's hurting other people. But these people are the ones who end up being hurt. And I think that hurt people. And I don't see that happening in places where there are already systems in place, mostly black and brown communities. I mean, back in the day, you think the Fed were really helping black people, say in the 50s and 60s? No, it was churches, it was charities, it was mutual aid. That is the thing. And black communities, traditional black communities, still have at least a skeletal framework from those times.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think they have that shit in fucking Kansas. I don't think they do. So.
Well, because they're just like, oh, the church will take care of me,
Right.
And guess what? The church is now going the way of now you gotta fight for yourself.
Yeah, that Jesus thing. We don't do that anymore. Help the poor? Are you crazy?
Exactly. I'm sorry, I got a new Rolex I want to buy.
Exactly. So, I hate to say it this way, but I feel very encouraged with the ICE sweeps, and the reason I say that is because of the way the community is responding, and every day there's resistance. Every day, it's they expected some kind of silent compliance, or they expected this fear of people running in the streets and stuff, and what they're getting instead is people were this is I was raised an American, and this is not how we do this. I don't know how you guys Russia was Russia before it became the Soviet Union, and Russia remained Russia after it was the Soviet Union. There's no these people are kind of used to that. But right now, we are every man a king, every woman a queen, sovereign nation. So we have a different kind of attitude, and so I mean, it's encouraging to see that even people who you would consider apolitical are still kind of like, no, I'm not doing that. Fuck that. Like, you know, just easy. Like, no, I'm not doing that. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'll still hear from people like, oh God, you're bringing me down. More of this stuff, you know, which is, it's always so discouraging where it's like, I know this shit's a bummer. Like, I know it sucks, but we have to talk about it. We have to be real about it. You know, you can't keep your head in the sand for so long because, again, it's like that whole quote, first they came to the communists, you know, and I didn't say anything because I was a communist. You know, that's going to happen to them. You know, they're going to, especially what they're doing now is affecting everybody. And it is the fault of these right wingers in charge. And that's is our economy going to shit. They're going to hurt us financially, everyone financially, you know, and there's just going to be some people that can handle it and be fine with it. And they don't mind this whole thing. But guess what? You know, all the other regular people that just been like trying to avoid the politics of it all, trying like just not keeping up with the news, too scared, too much of a bummer. Well, you're going to get hurt too. So you better start paying attention to what's going on, you know? And that's why we've been, you know, I feel bad. We haven't been talking about the ICE raids as much, you know, because it's such a national story. It's just an everything thing. And I think it's also too, it's been well covered, but we do need to talk about how it's like insane now that they're even like waiting outside courtrooms, like people trying to go through the process that they're pushing, you know, that whole coverage of, oh, well, you know, they're here illegally. Well, they're trying not to be. They're trying to go through it. And yet they're still getting harassed by these people who, as you were pointing out too, these are the real criminals. These guys wearing masks, like not identifying themselves. It's turning out too that a lot of people are just pretending to be ICE.
Yeah, they're not really. In fact, I mean, like a lot of them are actually Proud Boys and Parton J6ers.
Yep.
Like they have no training whatsoever. But you know, but to me, I think the main issue is that Lori isn't really saying, like, you know, San Francisco's a sanctuary city. We'll do what we can in order to fight this federal incursion, because basically, like, cities that do that stand a better chance of not capitulating to other programs further down the line. All of this is a test.
Yeah.
Right? How is Bass going to respond if I send the Marines into LA and Bass said, get the fuck out of LA? Right?
Yes.
Like she did. And so like so they did the same thing with Lori, and they're starting to do it a little bit in Oakland. We had our first ICE raid.
Oh, that's right.
And the crazy part about it was the way they did it. They went to one single house in East Oakland, almost in the dead of night, no fanfare. No, like flak jackets, no AR-15s. Very quietly, they came and they removed a 4-year-old girl and her parents from their house in the dead of night, right? But the thing is, that was, okay, if that's the test, let's see what Barbara Lee does. Well, you guys came in the dead of night. You snuck into the back door, right? You didn't do this grand show that you did it in San Francisco, and you did the grand show that you did in LA. You did it in the dead of night in the back door because you already know how Barbara Lee is going to respond to it.
Yes.
You already know.
And the community. And
so, I mean, LA did the same thing. So my issue isn't that. My issue is Lori is allowing the government, the federal government, to overstep, even as the governor himself is saying, don't let them do that.
Yeah.
Right, so Gavin Newsom's like, you come to LA, you got a problem. You come to Oakland, you got a problem. He says you come to San Francisco, you got a problem. And Lori goes, well,
yeah,
I
don't want to make him mad.
Yeah, and Newsom says you come to San Jose, you got a problem. And Mahan's like, like both of these guys, they're giving up their sanctuary city status through this capitulation program.
Yeah.
Right. And this is just a test, dude. If you don't stand up now, that bully is going to roll over you within the next 2 years. He's going to roll over you.
Yeah, and on top of that, even if you are bending over and giving him everything he wants, do you think that's really going to help you? Do you think he's going to be like, oh, well, he did do this for us, so we can pay them back? No, you're giving them what they want, and they don't have to give you anything.
Well,
I mean, yeah.
But to me, I've said this from the very start, and if you look at the pattern of the way that Trump is doing this thing, because we don't really talk about federal stuff too much, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the pattern is capitulation first, capture second, Like if you capitulate, he sees you as captured, and then he'll come and get you. So he did it with ABC, sued ABC. ABC capitulated, then he captured it. He sued CBS. CBS capitulated, and he captured it. Right, like that. But the first thing you do is you capitulate. Like when you bend the knee, you are now a servant to the king. Until you bend the knee, you are not. Right. So all you have to do is not bend the knee. But Lurie bent the knee. Right. Newsom didn't. Bass didn't. Whitmer hasn't. You know, like there's a lot of people who haven't bent the knee, but there's a lot of people like, who don't seem to understand. Like sitting on the fly swatter this time is not going to keep you from getting swatted. As a matter of fact, sitting on the fly swatter increases the likelihood that you will get swatted. You shouldn't even be in the room with the swatter at all. Right. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of people think that old adage of the fly who sits on the swatter is the one least likely to be swatted. Like, no, this is different. If you sit on the swatter, you're going to get swatted. Like get out of the room where the swatter is, because capitulation is capture. And I don't think that I don't understand how come people, I guess the moderate fascists, or you know what we call the moderates in San Francisco. It seems to me they're having difficulty understanding that language. I mean, like when David Sachs is going there and going to talking to Trump, when Gary Tan is going over there and talking to Trump, when Seneca Scott is trying to get an audience with Trump, like do you not see that these people are actually trying to get you to bend the knee to capitulate so they can capture?
And the thing is, too, so much of it, too, is class protection as well. I mean, all these people, they're like, actually, these are my people, you know, so we're going to bend to their knee because I agree with them. You know, I mean, Lurie definitely agrees with the rich. He has not said anything about what Trump is doing or anything else. Has not made a move because those are his people. I mean, if you think about it, he is a Trump. You know, he hasn't declared bankruptcy because he hasn't even tried to do anything. You know, he ran a nonprofit and that's it. You know, he can't do anything.
Listen, that's the thing. I wish he were a Trump. It would make things easier. He's not a Trump, though. Right. Like that's the thing that drives me crazy. Is like it's the ones who aren't Trumps who end up capitulating, like Morning Joe. Right. Morning Joe is not a Trump. He went in there and he bent the knee and he's trying to act as if he wasn't captured when he did that. Jake Tapper capitulated, and Jake Tapper's ratings are in the shit. And Jake Tapper, but he capitulated. And how did he do so? Well, you know, maybe what you're saying about Biden was true, maybe not. But we also have a man with dementia in the White House right now. So the thing is like, so you're capitulating and also expresses capture because you're not being like, and this guy too. Let's say that this guy is like that, but this guy too. Right. And he's not doing that. So we're sitting here and we're going, okay, were you working for Trump when you did that? Because this guy doesn't even remember executive orders that he signed. Even according to Mike Johnson, he does not know executive orders that he signed.
Of course not.
Mike Johnson just came out he came out and he said, so I asked Trump, like I forget what the bill was. And he said, like, it's really hurting my state. Why'd you sign that? And Trump was like, I didn't sign that. and Johnson's like, no, but you did though. I mean, like you don't remember signing this EO? And he goes, oh, no, that was to research that. He goes, no, it actually is happening. It's really hurting my state. Trump didn't even remember signing it. From Mike Johnson.
Well, he doesn't even know why he's up on the roof of the White House.
That's what I'm saying. But so all of a sudden, okay, so Biden stutters a little bit and maybe forgets a couple of words. And like, oh my God, we gotta get rid of this guy. This dude's standing on the roof. He's looking at eclipses. He doesn't remember EOs that he signed.
Yeah.
He doesn't know the difference between Alaska and Russia.
Yeah. Well, I think the big difference is though too is that with Biden, we expected him to lead. You know, he was the guy that had all this disparity stuff. But I was gonna say, but with Trump, everyone knows he's like
that's
Reagan.
bullshit. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. No, let me break it down.
All right.
Okay, let me break it down. This is that bullshit. Trump is seen as a strong man. Trump is seen as a master negotiator. Trump is seen as a successful businessman.
Mm-hmm.
He's none of those things. He's absolutely none of those things.
Yeah.
So basically what we're doing is we're saying that this guy who actually has accomplished very little besides being a reality TV star, that's it, right? But we are saying that he's, like, for whatever reason, even though there's no reasons whatsoever, let's give the guy a shot. Was what it was in 2016. Let's give the guy a shot. Maybe it won't be as bad as we think it is. It turns out being just as bad as we thought it was. And now here we are in 2025, and it's like he does what he says. He does. He tells the truth. He's a straight shooter, but he isn't. He's a fucking liar. He's a philanderer. He's been bankrupt 6 times, 34 felonies. Like, but they still have the expectation for him to lead. Right, and that is both the left and the right. They have the expectation of Donald Trump leading. Now, it might be an expectation of leading us in the wrong direction, but they still think he's competent enough to lead. And I'm saying, no, he isn't, and he never was. And so, like, the expectation that people had on Biden was due to a track record, right? The expectation that they have on Trump is due to no track record at all. They're totally different. Like that is the essential problem. The essential problem is that whatever is happening, and this is not a Republican thing or a Democrat thing. I believe it's more of a celebrity thing, and I believe it's more of a money thing, and I believe it's more of a reality TV show thing. And I think that, like, the perception between the reality of leadership and the perception of leadership are now equal, and they should never have been. Right. Yeah. So I didn't like the idea. We went through this 2 times. Like, you knew this incompetent buffoon. You knew this incompetent buffoon, but you actually came out and said, you know what? Let's get rid of the other guy and replace him with what? With what? Yeah. Like, because if you get rid of the other guy, you should have another guy already in place, ready to. No, you didn't have another guy, but we had to get rid of the other guy. And who do you think is going to take that place? The incompetent fucking buffoon. Yeah. Right. So you got, like, everybody lost sight of Trump during this. We all lost sight of Trump. And I'm still pissed because I don't understand how we did that. I don't know how we lost sight of Trump. Yeah. I'm still mystified. I'm mystified. How do we lose sight of this guy? He's over here bumping into shit. He's shitting on himself. I mean, my God, how do we lose sight of this guy? Oh no.
I know. Well, that was the whole thing. Well, I think the Dems didn't do a good job of keeping people energized. But I also too, like, I knew it. Fucking, I had my issues with Harris, but I was still gonna vote against Trump. I was still voting for her. She still had the best trap, And Biden was in that position, I would have done the same thing.
But to me, I mean, look, man, I would have voted for a bag of shit over Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
And so to me, I mean, there's something else going on here, and I think it's more about celebrity. I think it's more about fame. I think it's more about Hollywood. It's more about TV. It's more about these things. It's more about rap battles and shit like that. I don't think it's about politics at all. I mean, and I don't get the American mind, right? Because the American mind allowed this reality TV thing to infiltrate into our politics. Right. So I don't think anybody actually is thinking about policies at all. I think people are mostly thinking about aura forming. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think that's more about what the American public was confused about. We let everything glaze us over with this, like, cult of personality and cult of celebrity and gossip, and, like, everything became People Magazine. Time Magazine became People Magazine. CBS became People Magazine. ABC became People Magazine. We're turning to The View for political commentary. What's Whoopi Goldberg have to say about this? I mean, of course, it culminates. Hey, look, I love Whoopi, right? Yeah, I love her, but, like, Whoopi does not have a degree in political science. Whoopi has never held a public office. Like, what does Whoopi Goldberg have to say about this? It reminds me of that joke where Dave Chappelle was talking about a tragedy happened. They had to go check in with Ja Rule. Like, what's Ja Rule got to say about this?
Totally. Well, and that's, I mean. And also, it's like it's the parallels between Trump and Reagan are just so obvious, Yeah, where it's like really so much of it is not just his, his pre-fame and exploiting that, but also all the settings that they put him in too, like everything is like a primo love America photo op,
Well, it's really funny because I remember when Reagan was talking about the troops, and instead of saying uniform, he said costume. I remember that because it gave away so much of the game. Yeah, like this guy's a movie star, but he wasn't even really much of a movie star, actually. No, right? He wasn't actually. They wanted John Wayne, and they couldn't get him, so they decided to get this guy who was kind of like a Timu John Wayne. And he actually became president of the United States, you know. But the same thing's happened with this phenomenon with Trump. I mean, everybody he's pulling into his cabinet are TV show people, like you know, like Fox commentators and stuff. So I mean, with little or no experience in the field they're supposed to be doing. So I mean, like it is this thing. I think America has a problem, but I don't think America's problem is necessarily political. It might be psychological. It might be this thing that we've allowed the cult of personality and the cult of fame and the cult of celebrity and reality TV, right, to start dictating our reality in a way where that actually is reality.
Yeah.
And where we're having, and where we're, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, and it's like, I would also say it's an education problem. I really think that, like, I mean, honestly, we need a smarter base. You know, we need to bring back our that's what kills me too. Is like, again, like my wife, you know, is a teacher. She's in education, the education world, and like I see it all the time of like how good education science is. Then why are people so stupid here?
Well, I mean, but that's the other thing, though. I mean, like, I think that even the most intelligent person can get wrapped up in the cult of personality and get wrapped up in celebrity and get wrapped up in reality TV shows. Like, you know, it like turning everything into entertainment. Like you were saying before, nobody wants to talk about the ice race because it's depressing. Yeah. Right. But guess what? Reality is depressing right now.
Yeah.
And reality is desperate. And reality is something that you're going to have to contend with. Like, you can't keep letting TV spin it for you. Like, you know what's happening in DC has nothing to do with crime, and yet you still are sitting there and watching it, and watching the TV tell you that it is. You know what's happening in LA has nothing to do with immigration, but the TV is telling you that it is. And we were really in this kind of like weird ass 1984 thing where we're at, like I'm trying to, like Kendrick, like turn the TV off, turn your TV off, turn your TV off, you know, because like that's really what's fucking you up. And I'm talking about the most intelligent people who call themselves staying informed, watching CNN and MSNBC. You're getting a snow job too. Everybody's getting a snow job. So what you need to do is you need to look at just events. Don't let these people interpret these events for you. Like look at the event, go to your community and ask your community, how do you interpret this event? Don't ask somebody you don't even fucking know or respect.
Yeah.
To interpret that event for you.
Yeah, don't let Jillian Michaels try to give you history of slavery.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck was that?
What the fuck was that? I don't care what this fucking exercise influencer thinks about the history of slavery, because she clearly doesn't know what she's talking about.
Clearly, and you let Scott Jennings come on all the time. Explain yourself. And that's the reason why, like, turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. Like, turn to your community. Like, there are events that are happening. Reporters are here to report those events to you. That's what they're here to do. If you want interpretation, go to people that you respect personally. Go to your professor, go to your teachers, go to your elders, go to your community, because these people are not interpreting those events in your favor at all.
Yes.
At all.
And this brings me to I want to say probably the final topic, is also too this great piece that Gil Duran wrote about how the Democrats are basically saying, like, you know, why fight? Like, let's just move with it, you know? And to me, I'm kind of, you know, you're already kind of seeing that. You're already kind of seeing that with the embrace of the abundance agenda. Like, it's really so much more about like, okay, people, we'll give you what you want in terms of intersectionality and stuff like that, but you got to let us make money however we want to. And the Dems are, instead of really putting up a fight, are going like, yeah, we got to give them what they want. You know, I mean, that's the whole thing. Even though we've seen in the past about how the base can provide just as much in terms of small donor donations to compete against this big, you know, fascist billionaires and stuff, they still want to court the rich. I don't know. How are you feeling about how the Dems are pushing back and fighting back? And when you see something like Duran's story, how is that making you feel?
Well, I mean, the first thing I did when I saw the piece was, like I said, which Dems? Who's doing this, right? And so if you go, you can see that it's the chief executive center left group chamber of commerce. No, there is a consultancy. There's a consultancy. Right, and that consultancy is like 4 dudes. it's like 4 dudes. And so the thing is, I like the way that Gil framed it, and he's so big on frames. So I was kind of disappointed by this because because he studied with George Lakoff, and Lakoff is the person that gave us the concept of framing. The way you frame a story is the way that story is interpreted by everyone else. So in order to understand a story differently, what you have to do is you have to pull it out of the frame it's been set in, right?
Yes.
So the frame that he set here is that the Democrats are capitulating to the techno-fascists. And I was like, what the fuck? Right? So I go and I read it, and it's like, no, it's four guys. It's not even the Democratic Party. It's a consultant group.
Yes.
Amongst many consultant groups, right? Who are consulting the Democrats, just as well as there are many consultant groups consulting the Republicans, right? Yeah. So these guys, and this is the other part about it is we know we have infiltrators. We know we have people who run as Democrats and then they get the seat and then change their ticket to Republican.
Nancy Mace is a big one of that too, which is so insane.
You know, so we know we have infiltrators in the Democratic Party, people who are actually Republicans, people who call themselves moderates, people who call themselves liberals, people who call themselves Democrats, and they are being paid to deceive us about their affiliation.
Yeah.
Right.
The Lincoln Project was a big example of that too. The Lincoln Project.
Yeah.
No, like we hate Trump. Like we want the Democrats to win, but we're still Republicans.
Yeah, still Republican, which I don't mind so much as what I mind is that if a group of consultants can actually say something and we're supposed to interpret that as the entire push of the Democratic Party, that frame is messed up. Yeah. Right. Now, and the thing is like, the reason why I don't think the so-called Democratic Party is in collusion with the network state, right, for the most part, is because they're old school corporatists, right? They are old school corporatists. They are in legion with AIPAC. They are in legion with Lockheed Martin. They are in legion with Walmart. You know what I mean? Like their money is actually coming, or Shell, or Chevron, or like, you know what I mean? Like they're old school corporatists. But my thing is, I don't think the Democrats are actually into tech fascism, because if Democrats were actually into tech fascists would be Democrats.
Yeah.
Right. Like David Sachs, Chris Larson, Gary Tan, who lied. He voted for Trump. He's lying.
Yeah.
And Mark Andreessen.
Yep.
I mean, all of these guys. Peter Thiel putting in J.D. Vance, not in the Democratic ticket, but in the Republicans ticket.
Yeah.
Right. So I think whatever resistance there is to tech fascism in the Democratic Party is made it so the infiltration is difficult.
Yeah.
Right. That's how I feel about it. I feel as if what's happening is that perhaps there are some tech fascists who have infiltrated as consultants. And who was saying, like, you know what, maybe if you just bend the knee a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they're also protecting their class too.
Exactly. But so my issue has always been with the Democrats is they're corporatists. They always have been. Yeah. Right. Like your guys' allegiance to Shell is greater than your allegiance to us. Your allegiance to Big Pharma is greater than your allegiance to us. Your allegiance to AIPAC is bigger than your allegiance to us. Right. Like, but you guys have been doing that shit since forever, and it's the reason why you're stuck. Yeah. Right. Because what you have to do is you now have to be anti-fascist and anti-capitalist, which means you can't be corporate because corporatists are fascists.
Yep.
Right. And corporatists are capitalists.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't be the oppositional party unless you are anti-fascist and anti-capitalist. Totally. Because that's exactly what those guys are.
Yeah.
Right.
I know, that's why I like somebody like Ro Khanna. I'm always kind of iffy because he's definitely plays to the left and is really trying to make himself a left. But you also know too, he's got to please his donors, and he's the guy that represents Silicon Valley. So it's kind of hard to take him, at his word.
I'm saying you can't really take. But like I say though, at this point in time, because we fucked around and created a duopoly that we can't seem to get out of, unlike other fucking civilized nations.
Yeah.
Right. We have a duopoly, unfortunately. Yep. Right. Other places have figured out ways to have several parties run at the same time, and everybody comes to a consensus over even the most minute of issues and policies, and they come to a consensus, and they end up having a leader. Right. Yeah. We're stuck here with duopoly bullshit.
Yeah.
Where it's like people say, was the left wing, right wing the same bird? I don't think so. No. I don't. The minute that Democrats or liberals or whatever you want to call them start lynching people in the streets, and start blowing up clinics and shit like that, then we can actually have that discussion. Yeah. You know what I mean? But right now there's one side that means whose intent is actually great harm, right? Yeah. And the other one, their intent is to be feckless and not harming. That's you know, so move fast and break things is kind of like what the Republicans are doing, and the Democrats are like if we don't move too fast, we won't break anything. So it's that's the opposite of what needs to be done. But I mean, like the whole idea that the Democrats are just as bad as Republicans, well, we know that's not true.
Yeah, I mean, there's bad Dems, but yeah, it's not the true. It's definitely
it's just look. I mean, I'm not happy with it either. We should have a workers' party by now.
Yeah.
But there should be a workers' party. Every other place has labor.
Yep.
We don't have labor.
Yeah.
We have corporate Democrats and we have techno fascists. That's what we have. You know. And so I mean, I don't know how we're going to disengage ourselves from this, but if other countries can do it, we can too. And I would like to see a labor party. But like France has one, Germany has one, England has one, UK has one. I mean, we could have a labor party, and we need one. We need a working people's party. Other people, but in America somehow they're saying it can't be done, even as it's being done every place else. So I don't know how we're gonna get out of that. But I definitely want to help try to figure out a way to get out of that, because the duopoly system is actually nonsensical and it shouldn't be like this at all.
Yeah, totally. Especially and I want to highlight this story because I haven't seen much about it, but I think it's so important. But I think it's related to what we're talking about, is the fact that, even in our own party, you not just have like people that are like, yeah, bend the knee. You also have people going like, well, give us that money. I mean, it's insane that while it's not Act Blue, it's this group within Act Blue that's also developed and privatized the strategy that we all have to deal with if you're a Democratic voter, is constant emails, constant text messages, just abused by it. But it was just interesting to find out that things that I supported, such as End Citizen United, stuff like that, that's all basically taking our money for nothing. That's all, honestly, this group, the people that did this, the mothership strategies is what they're called. Basically, they are taking what's supposed to be donations to the Democrats and just keeping them. I mean, they pointed out they took in $282 million from donations to their PACs that they set up, using Act Blue, and only delivered 11 million to the candidates they're supposed to be supporting. So it's just, you're absolutely right. If we don't if we don't clean up the Dems and get this kind of corruption out, this greed, because that's what you're seeing too. That's what's talked about all the time, especially with these media consultants that have the presidents and all these top Dems ears. These guys are going, do commercials. Who cares about, being on the ground? Do ads, stuff like that. Well, that's because they get about a 30% commission.
Well, I think that once again, it makes me lean into this whole idea of the television world.
Yeah.
One of the phrases that I'm really glad to see, and it really did emerge on Twitter first, and Black Twitter in particular, touch grass.
Yeah.
Like touch grass, because I think that one of the things that's happened is, and maybe this is a result of the pandemic, but I think it's much earlier than that. I do believe it started with reality TV. I mean, I honestly do believe this. And we lost touch with doing things away from our computer. We lost touch with doing things like doing honest to God solicitation, not just sending out a blanket email. You know what I mean? Like actually having a mailing list, actually producing a newsletter, asking for subscriptions to that newsletter, building up a base of supporters, and then having events, having drives, but doing it outside, touching grass. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, I'm not surprised that Nigerian email spam actually became the way that people raise money.
Yeah.
And not just in politics, everywhere. You know what I mean? I mean, the schools are doing it. Like everybody does this. Everybody, they get your email, and they start hitting you up. They hit you up to the point where you now have spam filters full of shit, right? They might even be important to you.
Yep.
Right. But everybody is doing this inundation of emails. You go, oh my God, I forgot to You know, I was going to donate to this thing. It's been in my spam filter. How'd this happen? Because they sent you 15 emails.
Yep.
They sent you 15 emails over the course of 4 hours, and your spam filter was like, that's spam.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just not effective anymore. I have a friend who was talking about street protests, and I mean, it's such a brilliant observation. She said, so back in the day, like in the 60s and 70s, if you wanted to protest, like say a store, you could go directly to that store and confront the owner.
Yeah.
Right. If you wanted to protest a factory, you could actually like organize and go down and take it directly to the boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's with Lucky's, right? Which kind of broke their racist hiring policies. Is you had people protesting in front of Lucky's going, this place is racist.
Yeah, and I want to talk to the boss. And you get the boss out here. Yeah, the owner's not going to be able to leave this store until he talks to me.
Yeah.
Right? But my friend pointed out, owners don't go to the stores anymore. And bosses don't go to the factories anymore. You can't go to an Amazon distribution center and say, where's Jeff Bezos?
Yep.
You can't do that anymore. Right. So I think a lot of these things that we're doing are antiquated, and we need to figure out other ways to organize and other ways to confront. Because like the same thing's true with emails. Who reads a fucking email?
Yeah.
Right. You barely respond to text these days. Somebody sends you a text, you look at it and you go, who is that? You know, and you go, I don't know that number. Like, so
I'm instantly stop.
Yeah,
If I get a text, stop.
Nobody asked you for this.
Exactly.
So I mean, I think that the observation that my friend was pointing out was like, you know, like these old tactics, like they make us feel good, but they're not very effective anymore because the world has changed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so emails are not what they used to be. Text messages are not what they used to be. But what is though is organizing, and like
talking to people.
Yeah, that's
boots on the ground.
Creating a community, like creating a community and a global one. You know what I mean? I mean, like my model for that is still Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers. It still is and always will be. There are ways that you can organize, especially when the systems are against you in such a gigantic way. But you can still make systemic change as long as you make multiracial coalitions. As long as you continue to communicate with each other as your goals change, as your values change, right? I think there's still lots of room for that kind of grassroots organizing, and also like I was talking about before, we have to start making our own publications, and we have to start making these things where like people always ask me, like, dude, you've been on Twitter for like 2 years, you only have 400 followers. What's going on with you? Yeah. And I'm like, well, I only intend to talk to 125 people. Like everybody else is kind of like a spectator. I'm actually talking to my community. I know like 125 people on Twitter. That's who I know. Yeah. You know, I'll let other people follow me, but my thing is, hey, let's go sit down, have some coffee. Let's do this. Let's do that. That's what I'm doing with my Twitter page. I'm still using it like that. So hey, man, you know, we had a really good talk. You know, you want to talk on the phone. You want to go get some coffee. You know, I'll be at the lake on Saturday. Like, you know, those are the people I'm actually talking to. I'm not, and I don't need to talk to 1,000 strangers, right? I need to talk to 125 allies that I know and trust. And then I like for that 125 allies that I know and trust to turn to 250, then 1,000, then 3,000. But it's still going to be allies that I know and trust, and not just online. Yes. You know what I mean? So I mean, like I think that we need to just start thinking of other ways to do it, because you're right. And I don't even think that is malfeasance so much. Like I forgot who said this. He said like maybe it's not. Maybe it's a conspiracy, or it could just be stupidity.
Yeah. Or greed.
But no, but greed. But that's what I'm saying. But like even that is like malfeasance itself is a weird thing to do, right? It's weird because the thing is just like, okay, you get that money, and what are you going to do with it? Well, you're going to try to like figure out ways to create apparatus to make your organization bigger. You're going to try to get better consultants. You're going to try to get somebody who's had experience before. And next thing you know, millions of dollars have been spread out amongst a whole bunch of people, and nothing's actually gotten done, right? Like, is it greed, or is it? I'd be more inclined to believe incompetence. Yeah. I'd be more like, look, when somebody wants to do something, they really want to do something. You give them $50, they'll get it done. Yeah. And like, if somebody really wants to do it, if somebody really wants to get it done, hey man, here's $50 to your cause, right? They come back a week later. Here's proof that I'm doing the thing that I said I was going to do.
Yeah,
right.
Like 50, point.
Yeah, like,
it definitely seems like they're just they care more about the money and getting the job than doing the work and having that passion for the work. Yeah.
Well, and also there's no profit in it for the most part. You know what I mean? I mean, and I believe that's something that the whole country's going to have to embrace eventually. Is this whole thing about it's never been about profit? It's been about self-sustain.
Yeah.
How do you sustain yourself? It's not about being able to get a bigger and bigger house. It's about keeping the house that you have.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's not about getting a better car. It's about being able to maintain the car that you already have.
Yes.
Right. You know what I mean? Like you're not supposed to go from steak to lobster. Right. Yeah. Whatever you're eating now, you just want to have more of that. Like, and I think that's something that like both sides, most Americans need to get off this hustle mindset. Like not everything has to turn a profit. Not everything does, I mean, some things can just sustain themselves. I love libraries.
Yeah.
My library does not have to turn a profit.
No.
Right. Like I would gladly pay my taxes just so my library can maintain and be my library. And I think there needs to be more institutions and organizations and publications and journals and whatever the fuck. But what their plan is like, we just like to self-sustain. We're not trying to get any bigger. Like we just want to get on our feet, be able to continue to provide the service that we provide, and be able to do it in a sustained fashion.
Yeah, and that's such a great point too, because you see that the opposite of that with housing. The people pushing for housing and more housing, they're always like, well, because people should want to move up. People should want to. No, people don't want to move. They hate moving. They want to find their home and like make it their home for as long as they can. That's why rent control is so important and everything else. But if you hear from the side that wants to make money from real estate, it's no, they should want to like move up and constantly move and get bigger and better and try different neighborhoods. No, that would drive me nuts.
And the same thing's also true with employment, right? Like upward mobility. I personally believe that you should pursue the kind of career that you think is going to bring you the greatest satisfaction spiritually and emotionally, and also things that are going to help you sustain your family, right? So that's the reason why teachers should be paid a living wage.
Yes.
Because the thing is all they're trying to do is sustain something. Like upward mobility, they're not trying to get promoted to principal, like they're just trying to sustain the system that we need to sustain. Librarians, people who work in grocery stores, like back in the day, people who worked in the phone company. Like these were services that needed to happen. And we just have to sustain you guys. We have to make sure that you guys are okay. No, upward mobility is a myth at this point, It's a myth.
Exactly. I mean, that's such a great point too, especially with teaching. I mean, seriously, teachers get better the more they do it. And the fact that it's like a 5-year cutoff now, basically, like teachers last an average 5 years, that's terrible. That is a true issue, a serious issue that we should be fixing in this country.
Right. But also I think it's going to have to be like my man Ted Jones said back in the day, it calls for a moral revolution. How do we break free of this survival system that we have right now that insists that we become openly mobile, that insists we take more than we need, that insists that we vilify people who don't have enough, these are all moral questions. These are not political questions, they're moral questions. So I mean, I don't know what we can do. I mean, maybe things just have to get so ugly and we have to see it with our own eyes before we start realizing that we have a moral issue here. We are hurting the small. We're hurting the poor. We're hurting the disenfranchised. We're hurting the marginalized. And there's absolutely no reason why we're doing it except to continue to try to be infinite in a finite system. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. And hopefully we can do it before it's too late. And,
amen.
Yeah. This was a great episode.
Right, man.
Thanks for always coming on, buddy. It's always I don't know what I would do without you, buddy.
But everybody check the logos. Yo, check it.
I know.
We look good. We're
gonna get some good stuff. We're hopefully gonna get stickers and stuff like that.
We're getting ready to jump off on you guys. You guys are in trouble.
Totally, man. And of course, follow us on the socials. Be a Patreon member if you want merchandise. That'll be the first place that'll show up. I'm hitting up t-shirt people now and stickers and stuff. And we're gonna have another episode real soon. We promise, guys. We're making arrangements to have a really great guest.
Yeah.
And so until then,
keep fighting the good fight.